Today is May 31st. The Yankees are playing baseball again after their really nice one day off. And we're going to talk all about it. Gleyber's been good. Some new signings, some interesting news. Carpenter. Let's deep dive into the world of New York Yankees baseball. Let's talk some Yanks.
Talking Yanks with old John Boy Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, steaming hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talking Yanks with old John Boy Jake. Talking Yanks with old John Boy Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks, presented by SeatGeek. My name is Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. We got BBD in the corner. And like I said, it is presented to you by SeatGeek. Jake and I, BBD, we're going to a game this week, I believe. God willing. And SeatGeek hooks us up. They hook you guys up too. You get $20 off your first purchase with promo code Yanks. You click the link in the description. You download the app. You get there, and when you're on the app, you choose where you want to sit. They let you know, hey, good deal. Think about this one. Bad deal. Don't do it. So thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring the show and for hooking you guys up. $20 off with code YANKS at SeatGeek. Jake, how are you doing today?
James, Big Baby David, everyone live in the chat, and everyone else. I'm doing well. Excited to get some Yankees baseball tonight. Always funny coming to the office today. You see a couple jerseys, people heading to the game. Know that the Yanks are around. Excited to get into it. Kind of a Memorial Day off for the Yanks, which is an interesting one. So, some of the players, saw Mike King hanging out with his family, and every player that had a baby hanging out with their baby. And you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. And now we're putting that in a rear view. It's time to go on and win some games after a weird Tampa series. We talked about it on the series recap, but, there's some new and old names around the team now that is some funky mid-season stuff. And, just want to keep up our winning ways. So, sharp stats doesn't come in a jar. We might even guess a lineup. Jim, how are you doing?
We may guess a lineup. Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm doing good, man. I saw, Talkin' Yanks, good Twitter account, had tweeted 23 games ago. Like, wow, 23 games in 22 days. Right. This is a really rough stretch. And then updated everybody. They went 15-8 during that stretch.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. It feels like because they just tied the Blue Jay or the Rays, and split. And you want to keep your foot on the pedal. It feels like, with the injuries, and it might have slowed down of late. And then when we do baseball or talking baseball, and I look at the standings and I'm like, oh my God. They still have a .688 winning percentage.
Yep.
Like they got quite the lead built for themselves. I'd like to further that and keep going. But it's pretty nice. Pretty good place to be. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, 2 more wins than any other team in the American League. Less than 3 losses than any team in the American League. I mean, they're straight rolling. They're tied with the Dodgers for the best record in baseball. The Dodgers, their team is a wagon in a factory. So, yeah, times are good. We're in a Rays malaise, our first trip to the Trop. So that'll catch up with you. And then, there was also funny stuff. Part of our lineup's been missing. Some of the things that we thought could be problems coming into the season have been. Some of the outfield stuff, some of the shortstop numbers are starting to get a little nervous, but all things considered, things are incredible. Keep up our winning ways. Let's go Yanks. Jeets is on Twitter.
Derek Jeter is on Twitter.
Hot takes only.
AKA Someone from ESPN? Is that where the doc's coming? Is it an ESPN doc or is it an HBO doc?
I think it's ESPN.
Yeah, I think it's been branded as Last Dance style, so I think it's
ESPN.
Yeah, it was on Twitter for Jeter, which is good because I was trying to figure out what is he doing?
He's bored now.
To do this. No
more GM.
I was wondering that.
I was wondering that too because that's not a real answer. It's Jeter. So, but the doc makes a lot of sense. So ESPN is like, hey, let's make a Twitter to promote this doc. Good for them. I wish it was him, although I don't. I don't know.
You didn't like the video?
No. I love Jeter. I mean, it's on Subway commercials. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I guess you like the purity of Jeter. I don't know. I like him getting back in the game. He kind of did his GM thing, and he was doing the closed-off Jeets. You know, I started my family GMing, now Subway commercials. Now he's on the Twitter. I think he's going to do the it's obviously, I think the Last Dance Jeter is part of it, but I think he'll do the famous person thing, getting in Twitter. They end up finding out they get into it for a little bit, find out they hate it, and then he'll be.
You think it's him? Like, you think he has the Twitter on his phone?
No, but I think Jeter's calculated, and if he's Derek Jeter, if he's going on Twitter, he's like, I don't want to actually half-ass it and be a jerk about it. So I think he's going to try to tweet for a little bit, mixed in with obviously his PR team and everything. He's Derek fucking Jeter.
I would bet this was part of the contract with ESPN. Like, we'll pay you X amount to do this documentary on you, and leading up, we're going to create social profiles and we'll run them. Don't worry.
I don't know. I don't know if have we seen that before?
Yeah, we had to do it for AMP.
Well, we had our own profiles.
Yeah, but I mean, we had, like, it's part of contracts to do it.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's Jeter. Notoriously hates media and talking.
It's back in the game, baby.
Back in the game. Subway
Talking Yanks soon.
Get him in the warehouse. He'd have a good blitzball swing.
Not against me.
We got Sharp Stats, and then there's a bunch of, like, housekeeping news that we didn't really dive into there's a 4-game recap. That's fun to talk about. And then, yeah, we'll guess the lineup a little bit. That's probably going to be daunting to talk about. So, against Syndergaard, too. Ooh, fun 3 games.
Fun series coming up. L.A. and then Detroit, both at home.
Anything else to touch on before we get into
I think it's go time.
the Sharp Stats? All right, let's do it. Sharp Stats, queen of stats. Let's hear what we're talking about today. Says it's playing and that the volume's on.
Put into perspective just how much he has improved. Hey guys, it's the Queen of Stats, and I'm back. And you know who else is back? Gleyber Torres is back. So let's talk about him and put into perspective just how much he has improved from last year. And we all know it's all about the power, right? So obviously we know that he's hit 9 home runs when I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, and that matches his last year's total. He's also increased his slugging percentage by 101 points, which is the 8th biggest increase among qualified players from last year to this year. He's increased his hard hit percentage by 13 percentage points, which is the 2nd biggest increase among qualified players. And he's increased his average exit velocity by 5.6 miles per hour, which is the biggest increase among qualified players from last year to this year. And yes, we know he was at a really, really bad place last year, but he's in a really good place this year. So all of those, his hard hit percentage, his average exit velocity, and his expected slugging are now in the 90th percentile or better in all the major leagues this year. So basically a top 10 percentage of players. And the cool thing is that he's done all of this while decreasing his strikeout rate by a couple points. Usually you got to sacrifice the power. He comes with more strikeouts, but he's done all of this by decreasing his strikeout rate. And there are 2 key things that I think have been really important to this the improvement. One is that he's taking an all fields approach. So if you look at his spray chart on StatCast on Baseball Savant, it's a thing of beauty. He's got 4 homers to right field, 5 homers to left field. He's got 2 doubles, to left field and 3 doubles to right field. He's got 5 singles to right field, 10 straightaway, and 7 pulled to left field. So that is just, it looks beautiful. It's completely even there. And then another big change has been for him is been just much more aggressive swinging at pitches. He's increased his swing percentage by 6.7 percentage points, which is the 7th biggest increase among those qualified players from last year to this year. And it's been especially more aggressive on the first pitch. So he has the 2nd biggest increase in first pitch swing percentage. And good things are happening when he swings at the first pitch. So in 73 plate appearances when he swings at the first pitch, he has a 286 batting average, a 614 slugging, and a 906 OPS with 7 homers. So Gleyber is back, and he's back in a big, powerful way.
Damn. All right, Gleyber. I'm glad Katie gave us the against the league percentages, because all the increase stuff is great. 2nd biggest hard hit rate increase among qualified players. The biggest increase in exit velo. But like she said, he was really, really bad at that stuff last year. So he could have increased those and still landed like 60th percentile. But to hear that he's 90th percentile or better in those is more important for me.
95th percentile in average exit velocity, 89th percentile in hard hit percentage. Yeah, it's kind of surprising. It's, I always end up laughing at the old Gleyber Torres scouting report where before we saw him, he was a top 5 prospect, and the only thing we got on him was he's just good. And come on, he got pop, he got speed. I think what we've ended up finding, and now that we're seeing him play second base every day, especially from the second base position, his defense can be really good. We've seen him making some nicer, tough plays, getting there, being able to make the throw with the timing better at second base. And I think what's surprising, and I was really impressed by his 438-foot home run the other day, because when you think about some of the guys on the Yankees, I talk about us being spoiled when we watch Judge and Stanton, these guys that are exit velocity monsters that are rarely seen around the league. Gleyber Torres, the fact that, he's listed 6'1", 205, the fact that some of his metrics are where they are, and seeing that pop again, we didn't know. We didn't know if we were going to see that again. We were hoping that the contact tool was going to be back, because that is what he felt he was special at. And we saw him bust that out in the Tampa series. When they were down in that final game, Gleyber Torres, they shifted on him. He just slapped one through the right side. Yankees needed a base runner.
He's done that 3 times now.
And that's all in the pot, man. That's what makes him a really good baseball player.
Yeah, that single to the right, because they've done 3 teams now. And if you, the first time they did it, I was gonna tweet something like shifting on blah blah blah, like Gleyber beat your shift, and then I looked at his ground balls percentages, and he only had 1 to second base. But now I think he has 3 shift beaters that way. So maybe they start playing him a little more honest. I don't know. It's still overwhelmingly that way. But yes, the more reactionary swing is good, and then it's kind of like, going back to that has led to more power. And by going back to that, we mean not hunting power.
Well, the other on this timeline of Gleyber Torres, reminder, he's 25 years old, by the way. I think that was like right around the age Judge got called up. Remember when he went through that whole phase where his first swing was a massive swing and we kind of hated it? It just felt like it never worked. Seems like Katie Sharp is saying here that he's attacking first pitches better, so I'm super interested in that. I'm also super interested to see if there's a counter to that, because, we talk to a lot of guys in the walls of baseball, and baseball players, they have some super cool lingo that they bust out, and you're like, damn, I wish I knew that. Mm-hmm. But they talk about first pitch hitters and guys that, like, truly hunt that out. Like, that's in the scouting report, that there's guys that in that first or second pitch, they want the action. They don't want to get to a 2-strike count, because that's where they're vulnerable. So I wonder if the league starts reacting to Gleyber being more aggressive on first pitches and seeing if that comes up in the season. And the only thing of note, Gleyber's been beautiful lately. You mentioned the contact, the 438, even the defense. The one thing that's missing, and as of right now, it's not a problem because he's hitting, the walks are gone. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just because he's being more aggressive earlier in the count. He's a guy with a 333 career on base percentage. This year, he's still sitting at 282. And the walk percentage is down. So if that's how he has to play to be more successful, maybe that's the sacrifice and it's fine with it. If pitchers start making an adjustment and they're not giving him early pitches in the count, is Gleyber going to allow himself to get to 2-0 hitters counts or 3-0 or whatever it may be? That seems to be the next step. But more importantly, Jim, which, this gets lost, he looks like he's having fun. He looks like a 25-year-old playing baseball for the Yankees.
I think a lot of that is the position change.
Yeah.
Because you can make the diving plays now and still come up and throw it. You can
Confidence.
Dive and just flip it to second. I'm interested on the walks. I have his plate discipline numbers here. He's swinging at pitches in the zone a lot more. That doesn't factor into the walks, but 75% zone swing percentage. His average is 72. The last 2 years, it was 70 and 67. He just wasn't swinging, which was across the board for the Yankees. They just weren't swinging at pitches in the zone the last 2 years. And that is the new hitting coaches that they bumped up philosophy. It's like, no, attack. It doesn't matter if it's a curveball. It doesn't matter if it's a slider. If it's in the zone, attack it.
Hit it.
That's his philosophy. Zone contact is down, actually, from his percentage. His chase rate's way up. But interesting enough, his chase rate is the same as it was in 2019. Mm-hmm. So he's just swinging more this year. But he wasn't swinging at all the last 2 years.
Yeah. No, it is funny to look at those numbers and you talk about the changes at hitting coach. This seems to be a clear shift. That Gleyber Torres, I think when he was young and the power hitting numbers were there and everything, I think they tried to start teaching him a philosophy of taking more and seeing more pitches. To the point in 2020, I know it's a short season, but yeah, he was a 86th percentile walk percentage. The chase rate was 85th percent. So he was seeing a lot more pitches, but clearly the results weren't there because he wasn't hitting as many balls. So yeah, I guess if you're telling me I can trade a few walks for Gleyber Torres being a constant threat at the plate, I'll sign that deal.
What's this last number that's bumped up? Chase contact, and I think that's because the different swing is higher than ever. Whereas if he's chasing a pitch
out of the zone,
he pitches out of the zone, he's at least fouling it off or putting it in play, which sometimes can be bad because then it leads to bad hits.
the weak contact.
But overall, I mean the stats on his season are still not good. And even if you slice out, like we tried to do on the episode, like slice out the last month, it still isn't it's not like a heater. It just feels better.
It feels better. He had an atrocious start to the season. And then, it's kind of, he had an awful, no good, very bad first 2 weeks of the season. Since then, and that's where it's funny, Katie Sharp with her Sharp stats and me with my butter knife stats, the last 34 games, so if you literally cut out 11 games the first 2 weeks of the season, he's been at 828 OPS guy, which this year across baseball is a really good season. Like that's all-star level this year with the hitting numbers still down early in the season. So yeah, it's not as pretty as one of those like a Stanton hot streak where you're like, whoa, Stanton over the last 11 games, he's got 9 homers. It's not that, but it's been really good for over a month now.
Is there a part of us that there's a part of me that's like, oh, I like that more. It's just been pretty good this whole way. Like since that cutoff point.
Since there, it's just the walks thing, which again, if all of this other stuff is there, don't really care.
Yeah. Should come up a little. Should come up a little.
But from where he was.
They're going to start throwing less first pitch strikes, and Gleyber will adjust.
Okay.
Easy sport.
Well, I don't know.
No, it's tough, man.
It's a tough sport.
Really tough.
I was. Who do you think has the most 2-strike extra base hits on the Yankees?
Most 2-strike extra base hits on the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd probably guess like Judge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily 12.
I've got a more important stat.
Gleyber's third.
Gleyber Torres has been driven in by himself 9 times.
Yeah,
9 home runs.
9 home runs. Yeah.
Gleyber Torres has only been driven in by one teammate more than once. There's only one of his teammates has 2 Gleyber RBIs. The rest are all at 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's a product of the bottom of our order being shoddy.
Sure.
Shoddy. I think Gleyber probably does
who
kind
is
of a lot
it?
of moving around.
You don't want to guess?
Kiner?
DJ LeMahieu has 2. Trevino, Judge, and Falefa all have 1.
How many RBIs does Falefa have?
Kiner Falefa, don't look at his stats.
Is that also
12 RBI.
Is that also Gleyber not being fast?
No, it's just one of those numbers that kind of surprises you. If you look
Yeah.
at a lot of guys' sheets, you're like, oh, crap. Like,
There's a lot of, like, sometimes it's like, because the lineup's the same, Teixeira drove in Johnny Damon the most, but by a lot. It's like, oh, because he's always at the top. And Gleyber might be kind of the opposite. I think he's a guy that sort of shuffles where he's at the most. Don't know if the numbers would back that up, but theory in my brain.
No, he's moved around on the lineup a lot. Man, there was a stat. This is changing the subjects.
okay.
I don't know if you got anything else on Gleyber.
No. Happy for
Kind of
Gleyber.
need. We need it to not like. He actually needs to take off even more now. Like, this segment is true. The numbers that we're saying are real, but also his numbers on the year are still not good. Where if he has a bad 2 weeks,
Right. We could be
all
back
the
in a
numbers
tight spot.
skew back to like, oh no.
I think he needs a walk series.
Okay.
Like, he needs like a 3-walk game, and then the next game he gets like an intentional walk just in like a weird situation in the game. And then we're almost home.
Okay.
Like, then that on-base percentage gets above 3 and everything looks a little better. But yeah, I think that's the only tightrope we're walking right now. Is a bad stretch could reset us. But
If you do his
since-
last 18 games, the slash line's 288 batting average and then an 874 OPS. So that's good. That's good.
it's good.
That's good.
Or are you changing the topic to?
On the Yankees subreddit, there was a stat about Hicks that was almost incredible. Did you see this at all, BBD?
I don't think so.
I wonder if I can find it. Off day, so the subreddit's been pretty hot. There are currently 314 MLB players with at least 71 plate appearances this season. All of them have more extra base hits than Aaron Hicks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Hicks, over a month now. He had that good start. There's a little bit of excitement. And then basically as bad of a month of May as you could put together.
The injury's real, and we knew it was real. And that's where the Hicks conversation gets super tricky because you owe him a lot of money. So, like, on one side, I've seen people say this. I've seen people say, hey, the Mets cut Cano. Now it's $40 million, but he wasn't helping the team. And they just got rid of him because they're in win mode. Like, why don't the Yankees do that? The difference is Hicks is recovering from an injury and might up value when his wrist gets strengthened. He might improve, or his value to like a trade or get rid of him might improve. So you might want to write him out. The problem is there's no way to do that without him getting major league at bats
Playing time.
and playing time. And that's the tricky thing. And he used to bring so much more to the table, and now it's defense, arm. He's not even walking right now.
Why would you?
On the season, he's walked a lot, but yeah, lately I don't think he has.
I think teams realized,
he's looking for that.
we can pound the zone.
The conversation is going to turn into, especially if it continues like this, which, there's currently no sight out of the woods. Hey, baseball's a crazy smort. Maybe it's just the worst month of May ever, and he has a little June on him. Go get it, kid. Otherwise, the push is coming to shove where it's you either do a phantom IL and you're going to spend some time in AAA and figure it out, kid, or see if you can figure it out or get healthier, get your arm back, your defense. There's a lot of touch points right now for Hicksy that are pretty tough. Or if that doesn't happen on either side, there's a reason that Hicks's contract was built like this. Remember when it came out and we were all shocked by the years? It was to spread the money out.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about Cano, that was what, $22 million years of cap hit?
Yep.
There's kind of a reason they spread out the money on Hicks's contract. They didn't think it was going to be like this. You can't predict everything. They knew at the end there might be a decline, and they would rather spread that money out over years for their salary cap than to give Hicks big money in a tight time frame. Here's where we're at. So, yeah, again, with how baseball works, I think Aaron Hicks technically has one good month and one bad month. I think they're going to give a little more run, and then those are kind of your two lanes, and it's who's going to press the button first. Batman social experiment.
Yeah, it is interesting that his April, which is 15 starts, 17 games, is good.
It was great. We were excited.
I mean, it didn't feel as good as the numbers looked because it was all singles and walks.
There's still like the clutch moments.
And there was all nothing with runners in scoring position. But, the slash line's there from the first 15 games.
There was Hicks leadoff combos.
Yeah, we were never in on those, but they existed. So I don't know
why people thought it, but ultimately
had a 426 on base in April.
Mm-hmm. Shortened April. Yeah. It was it was the runner scoring position, which has been there all year. Seemingly because he hasn't adjusted to the deader balls. We've talked a lot on Talking Baseball and
a lot of big
with
swings.
Gleyber, changing the swing and going more to just putting it in play. And I mean, we saw it. He just hasn't really done that. He's still taking big old long swings.
Yeah, and he had a couple better swings. He's trying to be active on the base paths. It backfired. I don't know. I don't know because at this point it just feels like best case scenario. Because even if the hitting does come back and he becomes what Aaron Hicks can be, like a 240 hitter with a 350 on base, what he's doing defensively in the outfield, I don't know if there's a spot for him either way. So that's where it feels like a push will come to shove at a certain point anyways, depending how it goes down.
I mean, does he have a fly ball for a hit? And he's got the home run. I'm trying to see,
one homer, one double.
Yeah. The double wasn't a fly ball.
Based on the spray chart, looks like it was a line or down the line.
Yeah,
which good hit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I think, and the homer was
porch,
which they played at the stadium, but it was like a line drive porch, floater. Yeah, man. So he's got one hit on a ball in the air all year. Look at this. This was the homer. So this is the one we have. 2-0. And right over the bleachers.
Righty Hicks opposite field.
Yeah. That's interesting. I knew he had I mean, obviously, if you don't have extra base hits, you're not having that many balls in the air go for hits, but the double was down the line. So he's put the ball in the air and it be hit once.
One barrel in play.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. That was not supposed to be the next topic, but that stat was
Stuff
wild.
happens.
Yeah, and I was ready to talk about it. And I'm also Roman ready to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And Roman is bringing you our next conversation about Matt Carpenter's mustache.
There'll be a follow-up once we do the hot wood.
Oh.
The Roman
Want to do Hot Wood now?
Hot wood.
Roman
They
Hot Wood
presenting
Award?
it.
It's testosterone is important in a man's body. I thought of testosterone. I thought of Matt Carpenter's mustache. So that's what happened there. It's an important part of a man's body and health, so it's important to start supporting it early. Dietary supplements are a way to aid your body's natural functions if you feel like diet and exercise are not enough. Roman T Support is meant to help men maintain their body's natural testosterone production, and Roman T is a proprietary supplement formulated by Roman's in-house doctors. You can't find this blend anywhere else. Ashwagandha, magnesium, vitamin D, zinc. This sounds like something you need. Go to GetRoman.com/Yanks today. If you're approved, you'll get $15 off your first order of Roman T Support. That's GetRoman.com/Yanks. GetRoman.com/Yanks. They are bringing you the Hot Wood Award for the month of May.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May. And, dude, I mean, it's got to be Judge.
You think so?
I sent you guys Fangraphs stat page.
Emailed it?
Slack. And Judge
Man.
would get my vote.
Yeah, I'm looking at, like, the results, and it's Judge in a landslide. But I'll look at Fangraphs and see
No,
what's over there.
the top three are fun. You know,
Drop them some plate appearance qualifiers. There's a couple names.
crazy how quickly, what a whirlwind month for Josh Donaldson. He kind of fully put it together. 279, 371, a 150 WRC plus. It ends with the Tim Anderson stuff and then COVID and suspension and IL. So, yeah, I mean, that he put together a really good month, and it almost feels forgotten over the past 6 days. I think second place, Giancarlo Stanton, he had himself a pretty nice month for a lot of teams. He would have the hot wood on a lot of other baseball teams.
Yeah, 301 batting average, 388 on base, 616, 1 OPS. He had 7 home runs. It's good. There's an issue, though.
But I think,
Rob Brantley 1 for 3 with a double.
whoops, super fan.
It's Judge. I mean, Judge would probably get the hot wood for the league, maybe.
Yeah, like that's in discussion. He's currently MVP candidate, a 212 WRC plus, 12 homers, 2 stolen bases, Jim, and more importantly, I think he wants to segue you into the Matt Carpenter talk because he had 24 runs and 24 RBI.
24 runs and 24 RBI. Is Matt Carpenter wearing number 24?
Mm-hmm.
He is?
Yeah, sorry, Gary. Sorry, Tino.
I don't like that.
Sorry, Robbie Cano. People forget.
People do forget about him a lot. You know who'd be rivaling him? Judge does have some rivals across the league for the month of May in the hot wood.
Mookie Betts.
And Goldschmidt as well. Both up there.
Not current Yankees. Goldschmidt probably gets a cup of coffee with the Yanks in a few years. Kind of Matt Carpenter style.
Yeah, eventually. Judge not a lot of doubles. That's interesting.
Hitting him too far.
Yeah, but Mookie and Goldie double-digit homers in May, also double-digit doubles.
Double the doubles.
Not
And
as strong.
Goldie can't be as fast. Like he's not like Mookie's the speed thing. He can turn a hit into
Turns
a
a lot of
double.
singles into doubles.
Judge could. He just goes slower earlier on in the year, and we all kind of know and accept that at this point. He was very open with it last year.
Goldie, Savant, 28th percentile sprint speed. So yeah, not a burner.
Man, when you pull up the Hot Wood Award, like the league leaders, it's funny how familiar names are there. And then you got new names. Taylor Ward, Manny Margot actually had and that's not enough games for me. Never mind.
I know he had a little absence.
But otherwise, you got Harper, you got Trout, you got Altuve, you got Alonso, you got Stanton. You got like the names. It's like, oh, the good guys are good.
To be
Over a
good, you
full
got to
month.
be good.
To be good, you got to be good. Judge, Hot Wood Award.
Can't wait to tell him.
Did we ever find out if him and Ward went to college at the same time?
I think we looked. I think it was like a year off.
Same coach? Because that coach right now is probably like, probably using them as a recruiting tool right now.
you see these guys?
You want to come to Fresno State?
Looks like they were both on the 2013 team
Wow.
with Jordan Luplow and Austin Wins, guys with MLB time. Don't see any pitchers.
Dude, how about that?
Pretty good.
2013 Fresno State roster? Damn.
Good squad.
Okay. All right. So we're pivoted to Matt Carpenter. Also on that team, Trent Woodward, catcher, full of wood.
That would.
And Shota Run. Look at his name.
Runji. I used to work with a Runji.
Shota Runji.
Yeah.
It's a good name. Okay. Man, I got to tell you something.
Say it, baby.
Taylor Ward listed as catcher that year.
Yeah. He caught in the bigs.
Early on.
Yeah. Like emergency.
Matt Carpenter, that was a surprise trade. We talked about that a good amount. There was a lot of moves that day that were, what's that?
Signing, not trade.
Signing, yeah. There was a lot of moves that day that were of interest because of nostalgia reasons or just kind of perks your ears up. One was Shane Greene, quietly signs to a minor league deal. That's remember a couple years ago I was saying there was a lot of Yankee relievers in free agency, and we were like, go get them all. It was like Shane Greene, D-Rob, Holder, Clippard. He was part of the joke. I remember there's a tweet about that. There was like a ton. Shane Greene was a premier closer. Like he was a guy getting traded for to playoff teams to close games. And then I guess the peripherals were bad.
The baseball savant's not pretty. Not sure what to do with that. I will say this. Shane Greene's had a nice major league career. And the other thing, that if you're doing a little baseball sniff test, the Dodgers gave Shane Greene a chance. And the Dodgers they aren't a throw stuff at the wall organization. They are as analytically driven as any other team, and they are a pitching factory. They're currently dominating pitching. So the fact that they thought Shane Greene could be a part of their team in any ways, it became a roster crunch thing. It looked like it came down to him and David Price, your former Cy Young winner. I don't know. He's a guy, if we see him in pinstripes, as always, we root for guys in pinstripes. I don't know. Our guy Joe's McFly was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. He was giving me a whole, like, you're telling me you can't see Shane Greene getting hot? I didn't say I don't see Shane Greene getting hot, but I'm just going to need to see it before I see it, you know?
Yeah, I think it's if another reliever goes down, you have an MLB arm. You're not going to get the Marinaccio, Brooks Kriske, afraid to throw strikes vibe. You hope you get a veteran guy who's like at least understands the moment and will attack it with good stuff or bad stuff. But it's just a familiar name. They traded him for Didi. If you don't recall, he actually made his debut that year with the Yankees. and started a handful of games. Started 10 or
14 starts, it looks like.
How many?
14.
Yeah, and was good. I remember had a handful of like good starts, and you're like, damn, who's this guy? 8 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 1 start. 7 innings pitched, 2. So then they moved on. They moved him for Didi in that 3-Ray trade. Also, Robbie Ray involved in that trade.
Robbie Ray and Domingo Leyba.
Leyba
to the D-backs. D-backs sent Didi Gregorius to the Yankees. So yeah, and it's always if you see a young starting pitcher who just had a good season traded, do a little sniff test. Because yeah, his next 2 years in Detroit were not pretty, and then he started to figure it out. And yeah, man, he had some years there as a high leverage reliever. From 2017 to 2020, 3.25 ERA, 64 saves. So, you know, sometimes as Yankee fans, we talk about not pitching in New York, or, you know, that 8th inning ain't the same over in Blanktown.
Oh my God, dude, Blanktown, bad place.
He was getting saves for Detroit and Atlanta. It's been a couple years removed. Interested to see if Shane Greene gets a call, see what he's got in the tank.
Guy.
So he's got AAA first.
Parts of 9 seasons in the show. MLB high leverage experience. I don't see how it's a bad minor league deal.
Pretty low risk.
Yeah. The other one is that Banuelos got called up and wearing Betances' number, who was part of the Killer Bees. Man, I hope, you know, I don't know how long he is for the rotation. Obviously, you want everyone to pitch well enough to stick around and be really good. But I hope they use him soon. They didn't use him in the Rays series. Starting pitchers were pretty damn good, and I think he's is he stretched out?
I assume he's been starting.
He had 5 starts in 7 appearances at AAA for Scranton Wilkes-Barre. So I mean, let's be honest, they're probably looking to burn some bullets at some point. Couple things. Circling back on Shane Greene. Love the fact that he's still fighting the good fight, trying to get some MLB innings. I love it. Banuelos. Man, he's been a part of 2 MLB seasons, 2015 and then 2019. In between, he's been twirling it wherever they'll let him. We've got some Mexican League, we got some CPBL, and then he's back in AAA with the Yankees. And again, like I guess how I started with Shane Greene. I don't think Banuelos was just in the farm system to eat innings. I mean, maybe there was a little Brian Cashman trying to scratch that old itch, yeah. But 30 innings, a 2.35 ERA. Again, like you said, I don't know how long he is for this Yankees season, but if he comes out, I hope he absolutely shoves. And if he can survive for a little while, that'd be a really fun story. Or if he does well and ends up somewhere else, it's a guy you kind of got to root for.
He had a good spring with the Yankees. We thought he might make that roster as like an expendable guy when they had to use a lot of arms to start the season. But he's down in AAA. He's built up to 80 pitches. So, yeah, if one of these pitchers gets got early and you need a long haul guy, I think that's where Banuelos is going to pitch. Extra inning game. I don't know. I'm excited to see him make his debut because he was a top prospect in the system, and he probably had dreams of wearing pinstripes and running out onto the field and getting that moment, and he never had it.
Yeah.
And now he's going to get it. You know, I even think about Justice Sheffield, who had that moment. We saw the cool video before he got traded, and it's probably something that you visualize the whole time in the minors, and maybe he doesn't care, and maybe I'm romanticizing it for my own point, but I think it's going to be a cool little scene.
I think he had like quotes when he got to the locker room whatever day, and it was like, no, like my dream was to pitch a game for the Yankees, and I'm happy to finally be on the big league roster here.
And he, man, I mean, yeah, it's a roller coaster looking back. 2008, 17-year-old Manny Banuelos was pitching rookie ball for the Yankees. He got up to the highest ranked he was ever as a prospect was 13. So
one for the Yankees, I believe, too.
Right. But 13 across baseball.
Yeah.
Like that's, think about if you're one of the Utes that listens to us, or if you're a prospect person, go look at some of those prospect charts. Like Jason Dominguez never got that high yet. And think about some of your tweets you fired off about him. Like, it was a whole thing, in the words of Creed Bratton. So,
I mean, that's before I
12 to
before
AAA.
before Twitter really, and before like prospects became what it was. So if you're younger and if I knew about a prospect, that means it was talked about on WFAN or Yes Network games, and Banuelos, Betances, and it was Brackman, but I think they just wanted to list a third B.
They just needed a B.
They just needed a third B. We saw Betances start.
Made it to the show, which
We saw Betances start in New Britain, which was like, I remember like knowing that. It was Melky, Cano, Gary Sanchez, Jesus Montero, and then the Killer Bees. Those are the only, before the Ref Snyder crop, and that's when you kind of knew too many. Like, we've known too many names now, and people put stock in. Those are the only prospects I remember, like, knowing.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, maybe Romine got a little love, like, when he was a younger prospect, but
he was supposed to be the backup, but Cervelli beat him out with a good spring. And there's a friend, Mike Frances on the Fan, it stuck with me for some reason, just a random thing. He's like, some people hit better in the show. This kid never hit in AAA, but you come up to the big leagues, some people hit better in the show. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Analysis. But yeah, it kind of was that. Like all 10 of Cervelli's first hits were just ground balls, like through the pitcher's legs, like just up the middle, just right back where it came from.
Some people are scared of the ball.
None of them well, they probably weren't shifting for him at the first, but
those show pitchers throw it over the plate.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the only prospects I remember hearing about. And Melky only because they called him up and did poorly and went back down.
Isn't that the Pete Rose quote too?
Yeah, Pete Rose says that. It's easier to hit. Easiest place
league to hit is the big leagues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lighting.
And guys throw it over the bit if you can hit.
Good lumens from the lights.
Plumes of smoke. So that's the Banuelos stuff. Britton was the other kind of what? He was throwing, he's starting to throw, which puts him on track. Now I'm very skeptical and I don't want to rush things here with Tommy John. This is a reliever, so it's different, but this is a really quick turnaround if he's able to pitch. He got surgery in September, right?
September 8th, 2021.
So for starting pitchers, it's usually like 12 months you start going, and 14 months you can like get into a rehab game, stuff like that. Like, but it's a reliever, so it's different, and it's a veteran guy. But yeah, I'd take this one pretty grain of salt. We heard Monty was throwing, early, and then and same with Sevy, and it's a long road back from Tommy John. But I was shocked to even have that be said.
Yeah, I mean, some of our original conversations about this were, are they going to clear him for a 40-man spot? But, I mean, 60-day IL, you kind of do that anyways. Or if there's anything they were going to do with the money, because we know Yankees they love a good insurance policy. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. If we start getting some real updates soon and he starts throwing, because then the conversation becomes, let's say Zack Britton, it comes back to the Yankees September 15th. Awesome, dude. Love some Zack Britton. Throw some sinkers, babe. Can he do enough in the final 2 weeks of September that I'm going to believe in him in a playoff game? I don't know. It would be awesome if he does. I mean, Sevy kind of did that in a way.
Kind of.
So, I mean, obviously
starts,
different stories
roles.
and different strokes there, but it feels like we're already on a very tight timeline. If there's 10 boxes that need to go right, like 9.5 out of 10 have to go smoothly to really matter.
It very well might be just Burton wants to come back, get like into a game like Monty, that 1 year's like, oh, going to an off season normal.
Maybe he's trying to do a motivational thing. Like he comes back last game of the year, throws 1 inning, says, "This is my last season playing baseball. Win me a ring, boys."
I think he has quotes.
Banuelos says, "Who's this guy?"
I've been here longer than you. When was Banuelos' first year in the? Are you still on that page?
Rookie ball was 2008.
And when was Higgy's first year with the Yankees?
I think he was drafted in 08.
You think we got a longest tenured Yankee battle going?
Or were they ever a battery in like rookie ball in 2008 is what I was thinking. Because that's awesome.
Let's
There's
see.
no way Higgy would remember.
Kyle Higashioka. Stop. I think
you would remember.
Higgy's
Well, I guess if he was the top
memory guy.
prospect.
2008 Gulf Coast Yankees. Kyle Higashioka played 18 games.
Wait. I'll go to Banuelos. You go to Higgy.
I think we just got it. I think, yes, it's just a matter of if Higgy was catching the days he was
So
throwing.
2008 Gulf Coast.
Gulf Coast.
That's cool.
I have Higgy catching or on the same team as Shane Greene, 2010 Charleston River Dogs.
Look at
Different
that.
guy we just mentioned, but
That's awesome. 2008 rookie ball. How many names do you think? Zoilo Almonte,
love.
Francisco Arcia, Francisco Cervelli, Shelly Duncan,
Yep.
Chad Gross. What a name.
Hey,
That's his name.
I know.
Corbin Joseph. He was a Yankee prospect. Jimmy Paredes and Jose Perella.
Chris Britton. Not related to Zack Britton, but what a profile picture. My goodness.
Good one.
Holy smokes. Brian Bruni, Ian Kennedy,
What team are you on?
the 08 Gulf Coast League Yanks.
Oh, you just went to the pitchers.
Pitchers and hitters, yeah.
I didn't scroll down to pitchers.
I'm on the 2011 Tampa Yankees. Cervelli's there. Both Almontes. David Adams, Slade Heathcott, Cervelli. Eric Chavez had a rehab there. Melky Mesa. A-Rod rehabbed there. J.R. Murphy. Quintana was on that team.
No, I mean, it's a great call. I mean, definitely, we know how the Yes Network operates. Look for the 2008 clip of Higgy and Banuelos.
Should I
coming
text
out.
them?
Yes.
Should I text?
Good news. Start with a frog pick.
Well, I was going to include both guys.
What do you mean?
There's one guy, he's like frog guy.
Right. I'd lead frog.
Okay.
Establish the dominance with the frog.
All right. I'll text him all of our frogs.
All right, so now you guys know that we'll get partial credit for this. We are now affecting your broadcast.
We're producing
at home.
We're producing yes.
We're producers.
I'm going to say if Higgy catches Banuelos, do you Banuelos? God,
What's going on over there?
just trying to autocorrect it. Do you guys have the 2008 Gulf Coast footage of them working together
Looks like Chase
as
Weems.
teenagers?
Chase Weems caught the most games for that team.
They're both teenagers, right? Higgy had to be fresh out of high school, and Banuelos is
I think
17.
Baseball Reference listed ages. Higgy 18, Banuelos 17.
That's awesome. I hope they catch each
Kids.
other, and then they do this.
They probably did some funky stuff together.
You think so?
I did some funky stuff with some of my 18-year-old friends.
Jake. You're always
Midnight show in a super bad. Yep.
You're always
Did that.
joking.
Right around that age.
I don't think they have like game logs of the 2008 Gulf Coast Yankees.
Someone does.
Yeah, someone does, but I'm trying to find it.
Not the interstate.
They lost that year. They went 31-27 though, so that's good.
Fighting.
Yeah, fighting the good fight. All right, moving on. You want to guess the lineup?
Nick Turley was on that team.
What about him?
Got a couple. He had a 2020 in Pittsburgh. Otherwise, he's now playing for Hiroshima. Lights out this year. 4 innings, no earned runs.
Hiroshima?
What were you saying about DraftKings?
I was saying that we're going to guess the lineup, and I bet you we don't get it right today. I would bet you on DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY. Bet just $5 and get $150 in free bets no matter what happens on the field. That's promo code JOHNBOY at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. MLB trademarks used with permission. Bet on any $5 on any MLB game. If they win or they lose, you get $150 in free bets. I think Judge will homer tonight. It's Trout and Ohtani are coming to town.
He's counting the off day.
An off day. His old teammate,
Tyler Wade.
Tyler Wade and Taylor Ward are coming to town. And it's Syndergaard, kind of a crosstown rival premier pitcher. It's that vibe that you get when Judge feels like he has to step to,
right?
Which he usually homers in. So there you go.
Opening up the homestand. I like it. He's a pretty safe bet for the homer.
It is. He leads the whole
Leads the
MLB.
league.
But if you had to give me 3 games he homers in, I would choose this one
Okay.
or the Ohtani one. Most people might choose the Reed Detmers one.
You think
Because
so?
he's the less than of the 3, maybe. He's been pretty good. Anyway.
Sure.
I think, circling back a little, 2008 rookie ball team, Banuelos pitched in a game July 30th that Higgy caught in.
Where'd you find that?
I'm on like Fangraphs game logs. I can't see what like the lineup was.
Oh, okay.
Higgy might have been like a late sub. So I don't know if they overlapped.
All right. Yeah, that's cool, though.
And then there's another one in August I saw.
Oh, so it might
August
not have been-
2nd.
August 2nd, they played
Similar.
together. All right. If they respond, if yes responds, I'll let them know.
August 11th as well. That one, I think that he caught him. Higgy has 3 at-bats.
Should I message Higgy? We haven't had a good Jake Higgy combo in a while.
August 11th, 2008 feels like my leader in the clubhouse for Higgy. I think started that game, and Banuelos pitched in that game.
Did you message him?
I didn't message him.
Message him, say August 8th. I'll do it if you want.
I'm not going to message him.
All right. You guess the lineup. I'm going to message Higgy.
Okay.
August 8th.
So where do we think there's going to be any pre-game roster things between COVID or injuries? Nothing we'd know of, right? We don't have like a Tim Locastro update.
I haven't heard anything.
Stanton isn't eligible to come back yet. Donaldson isn't eligible to come back yet. So
Yeah,
we're
and
pretty
even
sure.
even if he is, I guess he's still in the appeal process.
And then Rortvet, he got surgery, so
He's
he
out.
won't.
He's out.
You're
till-
factoring him out of tonight's game.
Yeah, he's not
Okay.
available.
So he was supposed to be 1A.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Sure was. Biceps.
I know a guy named Walter Sherwood. Sherwood. My lineup tonight. We're
When
assuming
you message-
DJ's
When
fine.
you message Higgy, do you do it on Twitter or Instagram? 'Cause I
Twitter.
got Twitter, right?
Yeah.
good.
DJ leading off playing third base. I think you'll be with me on that one.
Yeah.
Let's go Aaron Judge hitting second. Playing center field.
That's what I would think, yes. I don't think that's like a lock.
Syndergaard on the mound. No, that gives them an excuse because there's a lefty tomorrow, so they'll start Hicks, bench Gallo tomorrow. So I think I'm going Judge center field. I'm going Rizzo first base. Is Gleyber cleaning up?
Yeah, I mean, it's been Gleyber or
I'll go.
it's Gleyber. Yeah, it's been Gleyber or Andujar, but the only time it was Andujar is when Gleyber hit third.
I will go Gleyber cleaning up.
Andujar 5.
I'll go Andujar, Gleyber at second, Andujar in left, Matt Carpenter DHing.
Righty on the bump.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Matt Carpenter DHing. Kiner Falefa at short. Trevino Higgy's kind of a toss-up, but Trevino and then Gallo ninth and in right field. Gallo's first right field at the stadium
This year.
for the Yankees.
He might have got one last year. Like
I think a couple last year.
Yeah.
Couple two-tree last year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's it. Unless they force Hicks in because they want to get him in because he had quote unquote got robbed twice,
Right.
And they want to build off that or something like that. That's what I do. Like you said, you have the lefty tomorrow, so you could play Hicks tomorrow and sit Gallo. And then you get Judge off center field. You move him to the right. You put Hicks in center. Andújar stays in left field. Who's the bench here? You got a catcher on the bench.
With that would be Higgy or Trevino, Marwin Gonzalez, and then tonight, with their current guess, it would be Hicks. Short bench.
Oh, that's a bench, huh?
That's a bench. Do we get Marwin in tonight for a little double rest coming off the long stretch? Doesn't seem insane.
No, I don't think you get Marwin tonight, right?
It would be an old school double rest coming off of the long stretch. I don't think so, but
He'd
also
play
not
for
against it.
play for DJ.
I fucking love watching Marwin play defense.
Yeah.
The at-bats are major league.
So the only way if Marwin gets into this game, it's Gallo
Okay.
benched and Marwin in right, or it's Carpenter benched, Andújar DH, Marwin in left.
Let's see if Syndergaard's got some splits this year.
All right, let's see if Syndergaard's got some splits this
Because we're
year.
talking about some switch hitters and stuff like that.
Message the Higster said, you caught Banuelos when you were 18 and he was 17. That's a pretty full circle thing.
Nice message.
Yeah.
Haha, yeah.
Haha, didn't know that.
Lefties hitting have a slightly better OPS but a lower batting average. So they're pretty similar enough that I don't think the Yankees would factor it in.
What pitches? I mean, fastball.
Marwin. Give me some Marwin tonight. I want it.
So how would you do Marwin then? Would you sit Carpenter and DH Andújar and put Marwin in left? Or would you sit Gallo?
I mean, what a message if they sat Hicks and Gallo, but I don't think they'll do that. I don't think Marwin starts. If anything, it might be shortstop. But otherwise, I don't see him starting.
I agree. Can I look at something real quick?
Yes.
I'm going to look at Noah Syndergaard, investor in John Boy Media.
Yeesh.
His pitch usage per game. He's been throwing his changeup a lot. Okay. Because sometimes Tommy John, pitches get eliminated or used more, or what, you get a different feel for things. Been using the changeup as his number one pitch 2 out of his last 3 games, but the last game it dropped to his third pitch, and then you got the 4-seam fastball and the 2-seam fastball. And he bumped the slider up. So the slider usage has been going up and down a lot. And then I wanted to see in the season his pitch mix versus lefties. So the changeup is mostly to lefties, and the 4-seam fastball is mostly to lefties. Righties are going to see the 2-seam fastball. Man, and that's kind of it. Wow. That's interesting.
I guess then we also
Slider, 2-seam and slider, but it's not that crazy. Where lefties are going to see a fastball changeup. It's normal, but that's pretty heavy there. You have other percentages, but
Marwin plays third. He DH DJ. Yeah, give Carpenter at the stadium. Porch me.
Yeah, you got to give Carpenter at the stadium.
Yeah.
So he's DHing.
He's playing.
Okay. I mean, you could also play Carpenter in the field and you're DHing DJ to give if he's still banged up.
I thought about it.
I think we have the most likely, but we'll see.
Got it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That's the episode of Talking to Yanks today. We appreciate you all hanging out with us. We love you. Enjoy the game. Go the Yankees. Tell them, Grams. Grandma?
Grandma?
Hello?
Go Yankees.